Welcome. So today we're going to talk about one particular aspect of getting to an ultimate capitalism, like a capitalism 2.0 model that would succeed shareholder primacy capitalism, which is capitalism 1.0, which has been the dominant model for the last 50 plus years, since 1970 or so. And so we've talked a little bit at the initial recording, a little bit about what capitalism 2.0, or what we have called primary stakeholder group capitalism, is all about. We've talked about that. We want to put it in a larger context, just so that we have this as a benchmark to look back to, but it's an important benchmark. The physical world has a couple of real heroes one real hero in Albert Einstein, and of course in recent years until he passed away not so long ago, Stephen Hawking. So the search for a theory of everything in the physical world has been was led, and is led by the work of Albert Einstein and those who followed him, and the work of Stephen Hawking, and thinking about it, just to use my own kitchen table language, putting a theory together that combines the theory of really big things with the theory of really small things. So we can put that in more technical terms at the right time, but there's been a concerted effort over many, many years to put together and have it stand all the tests that it should stand to be proven a legitimate, solid explanation of the physical world. That work has been going on for a long time. When we step out of the physical world and get into the world of relationships between people, just one relative to the other, and organizations, one relative to the other, including nations, one relative to the other. There really isn't a lot of time spent that I've found searching for and explaining how people's self-interest, and how people's interest in others, what we call other interest, how they're connected. And if we could do that, we argue, if we could do that and show that they're connected in a way that is reducible to an axiom, that is, once we express it, arguments might be made against it, but they will fail because of the integrity of the relationship. So we think there's a relationship between self-interest and other interest. And in a nutshell, it goes something like this. A person or an organization of any kind, a corporation in business, governments, one government relative to the other, a person or an organization will maximize its own self-interest if it optimizes the value it provides to each of the primary groups whose lives it affects over the long term and the near term, but especially over the long term. So self-interest is a direct function of optimizing the value we provide to those finite number of groups whose lives we affect, and we can call them stakeholder groups. They have a stake in our doing well so that they receive optimal value over time. Now, in the business world, in the corporate world, the business world, small business, large business, any kind of business and any kind of organization, we can say that the product or service that an organization provides will be received as the best product or service it's possible to provide if it enters that endeavor with the idea that it'll optimize the value it brings to its customers, employees, investors, financial investors, suppliers, the communities in which it has a presence, factories, offices, other kinds of physical and human resource presence, and the general public interest. So those six, we argue, are the ones whose well-being over the long term, any business, any organization affects, and that effect, that what we do for each of those groups is valued by those groups in a treasured way. We're significantly involved in the lives of those groups. So if we do it well, the likelihood, the probability that those groups will want to continue to be served by us over the long term is maximized. So that's another way of saying we maximize our company's value by optimizing the value we provide to a finite number. And right here we're saying, in effect, we're saying it sort of dogmatically right now, that is, there aren't more than six, there aren't fewer than six. Every organization serves about, if not precisely, six primary stakeholder groups: customers, employees, suppliers, investors, communities where we have a presence, and the general public interest, which goes beyond where we have a presence, but in general we have a presence, in a literal global sense all around the world. So we believe that that's true, and we believe that that's a theory of everything that can be argued as really existing, that can be used by an organization, by a company, by a business, by a government, can be used by that organization to establish its culture, its leadership characteristics, its cultural characteristics, and there are other important but additional ingredients in this definition of how to do best that we'll need to talk about. But that's the purpose for this recording, is to say there is a theory of everything for self-interest and other interest behavior in the conduct of human relations. And that, of course, it is displayed, it shows up, it's acted out in the way we engage with each other as individuals and as organizations. So that's what we intend to prove. And in fact, it shouldn't be that hard to prove, because it is really, in a nutshell, doing good, avoiding evil, doing the right thing for the right reasons. And we'll have to talk about those, and we will. And it'll. One of the things that's fun about this is that it's easy to talk about, because it's what It's what the good life well lived requires. Good life of a human and of all organizations. So, more to come. Thank you.